start this. It's gonna be great.
Hold on, wait. Someone has to text my mom and tell them that we left.
Hey, book lovers, City Books here today with friends in a car.
Woohoo!
Lexi's driving, so she's gonna be like halfway in the frame because she has to pay attention to the road like a good driver. So today we are doing the Pray for the Wicked book tag because all of us are Panic at the Disco fiends and we just saw him in concert, which is pretty great. Yeah, we're gonna start off the Pray for the Wicked book tag. Woo! And for those who don't know, this is Lexi, this is Schindler, and this is Abby. And let's get started.
Beginning is silver lining, silver lining. It's hard enough, silver lining, silver lining. It's hard enough. It's just cherries, everything is cherries on top.
First question of the tag is Fuck a Silver Lining by Brendan Urie. Of course, Panic at the Disco. I don't know
Implied.
why. Yeah. But it is a book you didn't expect to like but loved, or a not so great book that had a silver lining that kept you hooked. Who wants to go first?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
It's an either or thing, so you can choose one or the other you want to do. So it's a book you didn't expect to like but loved, or a not so great book that had a silver lining that kept you hooked. So like, I guess, I didn't really expect to like Animal Farm.
I was about to say probably a bunch of like school books.
Yeah.
But, so Animal Farm for me, because I didn't expect to like that. I was like, oh, another classic to read, but then I ended up loving it and rereading it because I liked it so much. Anyone else?
I don't know. I don't really like, being that I only recently got into reading, I don't really read anything that I can't get excited about because otherwise I won't finish it. So.
True. What about you guys?
I would say maybe something like Lord of the Flies, because a lot of the books that we had to read in English I was pretty excited about because we had to read stuff like Tale of Two Cities, which I was like, ooh, this is gonna be so great, I've heard so many good things about it. Or even things like To Kill a Mockingbird, and I was already excited to read that. So I guess something that I wasn't too excited to read would be something like Lord of the Flies, just because, you know, it had that like little edge that keep me reading it.
I didn't like Lord of the Flies. I didn't finish
Well, I
Lord of the
didn't like
Flies.
Animal Farm, so could the silver lining be that I wanted to get a good grade on the assignment, so I just kept reading the book anyway?
Choose my life in one day, there would never be else to say. Oh my God. I can't change into a person, but I wanna be so. Oh, it's Saturday night. I pray for the wicked on the weekend. Mama, can I get another amen? Oh, it's Saturday night. Swear to God, I ain't never gonna repent. Mama, can I get another amen? Oh, it's Saturday night, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's the sticks in there too.
I'm gonna kill him!
They look clean.
They look
no,
he probably
wait,
like
no,
licked them
psychic.
clean. Okay,
I'll
so
throw him away when we get to the ranch.
the next
I
question.
thought I cleaned my car for y'all.
The next question is Say Amen or Saturday Night. Either a book you were thankful was over, or a book you could spend all Saturday night reading.
I'm gonna go with a book that I was thankful was over, and I'm gonna say it was the Maze Runner books. Because
okay.
I really like the storyline, but I didn't like his writing. So I was thankful when I was over with it because I was like, okay, that's a good story, but I just cannot stand James Dashner's writing. It made me like not even want to read the rest of the series just because I couldn't stand the way he wrote.
I agree with that.
I would go.
I agree with that, but my thing, you might agree with me, is In Cold Blood.
Yes.
Or I was just glad that I finished that because I did not believe in myself, but we had to for class. But it happened. It was just so slow.
It was.
Until it was, oh my God. It took like 70 pages to kill the family. Spoiler alert. But I was just not about it.
I was like very interested that it was in fact a true story, but it was very drawn out in the beginning. Like obviously they're gonna be murdered, but he just like kept drawing it out. I'm like, okay, dude, do we really need to know all these like small little details?
Do we need a 10-page description of the girl's hair? Like,
I would go with one that I would spend all Saturday night reading, which is what do they call the second half of the Percy Jackson series?
Heroes of Olympus.
Yeah, so the Heroes of Olympus series, like the first book, that was the first book I ever went to bed like reading and like stayed up way too late like reading, and so I would say that one.
Miss Dalloway or Jane Eyre?
You like?
No, I didn't like it. I was happy it was over.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still on the track that Alexi was going.
Oh
I didn't finish Jane Eyre or Miss Dalloway.
You did.
And I'm usually really good about making myself finish books,
They were so bad.
but I couldn't. I couldn't.
Oh my god, they just took forever.
It was insane.
I'm gonna be the greatest in a golden cathedral. I'll be praying for the faithless, and if you lose, boo-hoo. Hey, look what I made it. Hey, look what I made it. Everything's going out places. The faces don't make it, don't break it. I said, hey, look what I made it.
So this question is, hey, look, Ma, I made it. It's a book that made you feel accomplished for finishing.
I will say I felt very accomplished for finishing Great Expectations by Charles Dickens.
Oh, girl.
Because it was a book that my dad had given me, and I was in like 7th grade, and so at the time I wasn't like as much of a mature reader, but I just kept on reading it because I was like, oh, my dad gave me this book, I need to read it. And it was a good story, but it was just so like, you know, big for a 7th grader, and so whenever I finished I was like,
You wrote that book in
yes.
7th grade?
Yes.
Serious
I don't even
applause
want to
for
read.
that.
I don't want to read that book now, let alone 7th grade.
It's a good storyline. Charles Dickens is a good writer.
I gotta say, when I first, because my mom was a big Harry Potter fan even from the beginning. Like, she waited out the 8th book, I think. I don't know. She can tell you better than I can. But she was just a fan. And when I was younger, I was just so resentful that I didn't want to read Harry Potter. So when I read the first few books all together, I was very accomplished and like proud of myself for finishing, especially since they were huge books. And I finished them in like right before high school. So I was prepped and accomplished and proud of myself.
Honestly, I just feel accomplished after I finish any book because it takes a lot to like be able to get into a book and actually read it. But the program series,
I kind of feel Yeah, I kind of feel what Abby's saying for sure, like, especially since I'm like home new to this reading thing. But also at the same time, if a book is hard for me, I also do have the tendency to give up on it, which is a bad tendency probably. But like, what have I tried to read that I gave up on? Lord of the Flies. I tried to read, but I gave up on it, and I still got an A on the test. So booyah.
Same.
But yeah, so like older books that like English teachers want me to read, I'll give them a chance, but I usually end up
Spark
getting
Notes.
freaked out and leaving.
Spark Notes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a very unpopular book to opinion.
Spark Notes is an
Yeah.
yeah, totally. Like I'm totally the enemy here to books, but whatever.
Y'all little synchronized dancing. Oh yeah, they're so good. Like Go-Go Girls in the background. Yes.
So for High Hopes, it's a book you had high hopes for, but they fell flat. Maybe that Dorothy Must Die series.
You hate that.
I don't hate it, but it's a very unpopular opinion because a lot of people like it, and I just couldn't get through the first book. I treaded on as far as I could, but I was just in a huge reading slump when I was reading that, and then I picked up Harry Potter and everything was much better.
I would say for me, it was the Mara Dyer series. Because I had read so many comments on it about how it was like such an amazing book. And so then I think like in my head I had hyped it up so much that when I finally read it, I was just like, this isn't as good as like what everyone was promising it would be. And so then I was like very disappointed because like I think if I hadn't heard all those comments, then I'd be like, oh yeah, this is still a pretty good series, like maybe not my favorite, but because I had read all those, I thought it was gonna be like to like such a higher Like I would hold it to such a higher regard than I actually did. Stupid reviews.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. Like book overhyping, getting you down about a mediocre book. Like that's my thing with Dorothy Must Die too, because everybody was so obsessed with the characters, but I thought they kind of felt bland, and I couldn't relate to the main protagonist at all whenever I was reading. So I was like,
There's this book that I cannot for the life of me think of the title. I'll have like Rose insert the title somewhere when I go look at what it is.
In 2 miles, keep left onto West Sam Houston Tollway North.
It wasn't like people had hyped it up to me or something. It's just we were at the store, and you know they say don't judge a book by its cover, but for YA books I totally do. I love pretty covers. But I read the blurb and everything, and I'm like reading, like I read like a chapter or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I think I could get into this book. Insert title here. And God, why can't I? Anyway, but and then I like got like a third of the way in. I was like, I cannot read this any longer. This is terrible.
what was it about?
It's like my
Trying
problem with
to
the
help
book
you
is
along.
it jumped right into the book and didn't give any context to the world that you were in. And like,
Was it a darker
there's,
shade
like-
of magic?
no,
Or-
and there's like these ancient people who are monsters who are like destroying all of England, and the only like safe haven is
Keep
where
left.
all the sorcerers are in London.
The
Oh,
Shadow
W.
Bright and Burning?
Yes!
A shadow
That's it.
bright and burning?
Yeah, it's a
I
Shadow
kept-
Bright and Burning.
In my head, I was
Have
like,
you read it?
No, but I have it.
She owns
and
it.
it has a pretty rose that's on fire on
Yes.
the cover, and it's beautiful.
I kept thinking like fire, flames, burning, what? And then I couldn't think of the title. Jeez. Okay.
Any high hopes that fell flat?
Maze Runner. I'm
Yeah.
going back to
Yeah.
that. Maze Runner.
I agree. Everybody talked about how it's the best dystopian
I know, they were
book.
like, oh my gosh, the book is so good. And like, you know how like usually the books are better than the movies, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, the movie's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I try and read the book and I can't even make it halfway through the book because it's just so bad.
I finished the book. I just wish I didn't, because that was a waste of words in my mind.
This is my rolling, rolling maze around. I'll be rolling like a blunt 'cause I wanna go home. Rolling like a blunt 'cause I wanna go home. Rolling maze around. I'll be rolling like a blunt 'cause I wanna go home. Rolling like a blunt 'cause I wanna go home.
Roaring Twenties is a book that makes you feel nostalgic.
Great Gatsby. Easy. It's the only like classic I've really read, and I love it, and it's made me like really want to like hop in a time machine, go back to the 20s, but yeet before the Great Depression, you know?
Before the Great Depression.
I feel that.
I'll also say nostalgic of actual history, but nostalgic of your childhood.
I was gonna do my own childhood, because I'm stuck between two. My middle school me was obsessed with, of course, the Percy Jackson series. I don't know a middle schooler who wasn't, because if you weren't, then you weren't really like a book kid, you know?
Yeah.
And then I read all of the Click series. I don't remember who it's by, but it's about these like 5 girls, and one of them is joining the popular crowd. It's like Mean Girls, but over an expanse of 20 books in middle school.
Oh, wow.
And it was my obsession.
Why?
But yeah,
Junie B. Jones. Junie B. Jones.
that makes you feel nostalgic.
It's like Lexi started talking about like actual history, and so it only got me thinking about one thing, but now I want to think about another. Actually, I have one that'll work for both. Okay. The Ruby Red series, because I read it in
Ooh.
middle school, and
I
it
still
was
need to read
really
that.
good. And also, it makes me nostalgic of history, because like if you've read it, they're time travelers, so they go back to all these points in history, and it makes me just really love it.
Dancing, dancing, dancing's not a crime. Let's do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Well, everything went dark.
Dancing's Not a Crime is a book that BookTube makes you feel like is a crime for loving or hating. And since y'all don't really keep up with the BookTube scene, you can do like friend groups and stuff. Like, you know how I nearly attacked you for liking Jane Eyre? If that was a different
If that was a
situation,
truth for you.
if that was a true situation, then say that out loud. But for me, BookTube,
You haven't.
I hate Jane Eyre, and BookTube, I made a video about it, and there was a lot of dislikes as opposed to the like-dislike ratio, and nobody agreed with me. And yeah, it was
Fun.
fun.
Wait, nobody agreed with you that you don't like Jane Eyre?
Yeah, nobody agreed with me.
People on BookTube love
people
that
on
kind of
BookTube
thing.
love Jane Eyre.
They love anyone who's like a big literary person tends to like Jane Austen a lot, and I don't really understand it. But if that's your scene,
Okay, I like Jane Eyre. I just
Hold on, didn't Charlotte Bronte?
Yes.
Charlotte Bronte wrote it.
Okay, okay.
oh,
Jane-
I thought it was a Jane Austen.
I wanted
book.
to make
Now
sure.
I'm gonna get killed by BookTube.
One book that I hated that a lot of people seem to love is Catcher in the Rye. I read that book when I was in 8th grade, and I know everyone's like, oh, I can relate to it with my teenage angst. But when I read it in 8th grade, I'm like, why is this kid always so depressed? I was so tired of it. He's like, I'm gonna get kicked out of like every university I've ever been in. Now I'm gonna go downtown and try and enjoy oh Jesus Christ. New York.
You know.
But then everything he does just makes him depressed. And then he like calls up a stripper and he's like, maybe this will make me happy. But then he doesn't even enjoy that either. So he's like, let's just talk. And then like nothing makes this kid happy and everyone's a phony and I was just so done with it.
I love your hatred for that book. I don't know why, but it inspires me.
Even
One of the Drunks is a book you got drunk on that left you in a book
Take the exit.
hangover. You know what, Siri?
13 reasons why.
The real content is us eating in the car. What about you?
Actually, it's me eating in the car.
A book hangover? I don't know. I guess the very first series I ever read, I like jumped right into chapter books. It was weird, like just because I didn't read till 8th grade. But and I read all of the Percy Jackson, all of the Heroes of Olympus, and like I didn't read anything for a while after that because I was like so into that, and it like showed me that I could enjoy a book. But it took me a while to find something else similar that I could also enjoy, so I was kind of stuck in that world, I guess, for a while.
I would say a book hangover for me would be the Shatter Me series.
Ooh.
I
Just
want to
'cause
read that.
It's so
really
good.
It's really good. Just because her writing in it is just so amazing, and the storyline, it just like takes so many like twists and turns that like you really appreciate, I feel, as a reader. And just like the way how it all ends, it really contributes just to you being like, well, what now, you know? So yeah, book hangover for sure. Shatter Me.
I recently jumped back in because I read the first book a while ago, and it's the To All the Boys I Loved Before series, and I am obsessed
Dude, I started
with
that
it.
today.
You did. The movie came out today, and I
that's when I
watched it this
started.
morning, and oh my, it's
like
so
halfway
good.
through
It's so good. I can't control my hype for that series because I love it so much, and it'll leave me thinking about it forever and ever and ever. Like Team Peter. That's all I gotta say. Right?
Heart is a dreamer just like you. You looked at death in a tarot card and you saw what you had to do. But nobody knows you now when you're dying in LA. And nobody knows you now when you're dying in LA. When you're dying in LA. When you're dying in LA. The power, the power, the power. Oh, the power, the power, the power of LA.
The last one that we are doing, since we are fake fans and don't know almost 3 of the other songs on the album, is Dying in LA, which is a book that you love that is so underhyped and needs more appreciation.
Okay, I got it. 3 Dark Crowns is a fantastic series with like great, like such good characters. Oh my god, it's great. It's a great series. I recommend it, and I don't feel like it gets a lot of attention, but I feel like if more people read it, they would realize how good it is.
I feel the same way about Throne of Glass. Sorry, I have a pretzel in my mouth. Hold on. Somebody else go.
Say Throne of Glass.
I feel the same way about the Seven Realms series. Anyway, I feel like a lot of people are maybe thrown off about it because the first book, it's called The Demon King, and maybe some people are just like, oh, that's
Okay, I'm
like
sorry,
a
but that book
sketchy
sucks.
Okay, no, because the first book, like the first like 50 pages, you're just like, this is so incredibly slow. But honestly, like once you get past that, and then you like get into like maybe the like, oh, that's a sorry. Wow. Anyway. And okay, so maybe like a fourth of the way through the book, that's when things start picking up and like so many storylines start making sense, and then you just start getting really into it. And then all the books after that are just like amazing. Like sometimes I just like go back and read like different parts of like the books and like the other, like the second and third book, just because like I loved it so much. So like I understand like the first book, like even I was just like, this is really slow, but it was recommended to me, so I might as well like read it, just like, you know, make the person that recommended it happy. And then like once I got past like the first like 50 to 100 pages, and I'm like, this is so much better, and I loved it.
Okay, so I was gonna say earlier the Throne of Glass series, because I mean it is well enough liked, and it's not that there are a lot of haters against it or that it doesn't get any attention, because it gets some attention. It just needs more because it is so good. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. It needs more attention. It is underhyped in the preface that it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves.
I've already done my rant about the program.
The program, yeah, I knew that was probably what you're
Not
doing.
enough attention on the program? Like
No,
people don't really
I
read
didn't
it?
even know it existed until like somebody. It was Megan Hall.
That was
Megan
bumpy.
Hall.
Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like it up if you liked it, and hit subscribe down below if you want to check out more videos. I do a bunch of collabs with this one over here, the blonde one. And
Not me.
I thought you were pointing at me.
when have I ever done a collab with you? But that's about it, you guys. So thanks for watching. Bye.
It's like the Incredibles intro.
Jazz hands.